So what else is interesting to point out about this? Of course, choosing different fonts, bold, italicized, underline, and I set out, right, like here's another example of a table that's formatted and what it looked like before. But I set out a bunch of tables here just so we could see how some of this stuff affects the look of things. And the first thing I noticed when I looked at this page, when I created this page, was it felt a little chaotic to me. Like my eye was trying to make order. Like, why are these blue and why are they here? And what are the green ones doing there? And then so I decided, hey, I'm going to line those up. And then that kind of made more sense to my eye, like, oh, these must all be relevant, somehow grouped together. And so they're actually physically grouped together and they're grouped by colors. So good graphic design is something which goes beyond the scope of this little video, but it is something that, hopefully will come somewhat intuitively. You'll learn over time. But the simplicity is one of the rules of good graphic design. Symmetry and also sometimes lack of symmetry are both tools that you could think about and use. So here I was definitely thinking about keeping things somewhat symmetrical. And you can see the differences between some of these tables when I go in and I format them. And I've put little comments up here which tells you what I did. So here I added an underline to the text. Here I changed the font. You can see it's a slightly different font than the rest of these fonts. I italicized it here. I italicized it and made it red there. I added a double underline there, right? So there's all kinds of little options that you could do. I added the dollar signs here. I grouped that and made it italicized and kind of made it look a little bit different. No formatting right here. So this was something where I actually selected the whole table and I went up to clear formats. And that clears off all the formatting that may be laid over whatever cells you selected. So here I just kind of did on that. I went into the table and I chose just a certain fill color. So I could come down here, and that's kind of what I did before, but you could choose different fill colors for tables. And that's what I did on this one. Here I did conditional formatting, which is this one, right? And I put in a rule which said any cell value that's less than or equal to 500, fill that with red. And so I put that rule in, and so any of the values are less than or 500 got filled with red. And so that was like what I did there. And so that's just to illustrate, bold, italicize, underline, putting the box, doing fills, like if I wanted to fill a cell with a certain color, choose the color, and I could fill that cell or multiple cells. Changing the color of text, changing the size of text. Hopefully that's where it was, 1111. Right? Merging and centering wrapping text. We already saw that, and you can see a little visual of what wrap text does there. Changing the number formatting, which you could do some of it right here, but the most powerful way to get to it is to right click, choose format cells, and choose number. And then you have more control right there. Doing conditional formatting, which I did right there. Formatting as a table, which you saw. Formatting styles here, where I just choose a certain style, look for cells, and it applies that formatting. If I wanted to insert cells, inserting and removing cells is an important thing that I use fairly often. So let's say I decide that all these tables are, I don't want two columns between them.